We begin tonight with what has been hailed by human rights activists as a major victory for those who fought against British colonial rule. Now, earlier today, the British government offered to pay some 2.6 billion shillings to some 5,000 Mau Mau war veterans in an out-of-court settlement. Now, the announcement, which was made by the British Foreign Secretary William Hague in London, came with a veiled apology to victims of colonial torture. KTN senior reporter Rita Tinina has been following the day's developments and joins us now live from a city center studio. Rita, too little, too late, or victory all the same?
Well, Njoroge, it depends on who you ask. That amount translates to less than 500,000 shillings per victim. And while that may seem like little, many of the victims who are now in their 70s and 80s seem to have decided that in these last stages of their lives, something is definitely better than nothing. Let's now take a look at how things went in London and here in Nairobi during and after that historic announcement.
But I'm a bit surprised that...
When the British Foreign Secretary William Hague rose to address the House of Commons in London, it was with an unusual and historic statement.
The British government recognises that Kenyans were subject to torture and other forms of ill treatment at the hands of the colonial administration.
A first-time admission that the British government committed atrocities during the colonial era from 1952 to 1963. And for that, Her Majesty's government regrets the actions.
The British government sincerely regrets that these abuses took place.
The announcement comes with a 2.6 billion shilling out-of-court settlement for 5,228 victims of colonial torture who had sued the British government in 2009.
The government will also support the construction of a memorial in Nairobi to the victims of torture and ill treatment during the colonial era.
As the British Foreign Secretary made the announcement in London, in Nairobi, Mau Mau war veterans were celebrating, some still coming to terms with the news that their long search for justice had borne some fruit.
Tumekubali kile ambayo serikali ya Uingereza imetoa.
Today's victory only marks one step in the journey for justice.
We do not want our current and future relations with Kenya to be overshadowed by the past.
But even with the statement and the payout, the British government will not take liability.
We continue to deny liability on behalf of the government and British taxpayers today for the actions of the colonial administration.
The case will no doubt set a precedent for other victims of colonial torture. But for those who are set to receive their settlement from the British government, it is not all about the money. It is the symbolism of the apology offered by the former colonial master that they are most happy about.
Watu wanasema kimoja kilichoko mikononi ni kizuri kuliko 10 ambayo iko katika kichaka.
Rita Tinina, KTN. Well, the British government now says it will begin to process the settlement right away, and the victims are, of course, eagerly awaiting what many see as a somewhat happy ending to a very long quest for justice. Njoroge, back to you.
Thank you so much, Rita Tinina. Certainly a very big historic day for Mau Mau heroes, and certainly a first for the discredited former colonial empire.